Coach of Strahd, episode 3. Do y'all like the name? I don't know. Anyway, I'm sticking with it until people tell me otherwise. So, episode 3, we have finished Death House. The Death House module that I have rechanged into Durst Manor, because calling it Death House is giving away the fact that it's as bad as it is, but that's a whole other thing. I might make videos about this, but maybe I won't, because right now is when all the OGL stuff's going on. I'm in a weird spot of if I want to support and make videos like that to help, but then people want to play it, but then I don't know. I'm in a weird spot, so I'm just going to kind of see what happens from there. We'll see. But these videos are kind of me showing you how I'm running Curse of Strahd. You can take notes for yourself if you want to. If you like some of the stuff I'm saying, I drop in Dungeon Master tips behind the scenes in these videos, and the live play videos are over on my Patreon. If you want to check out the Patreon of the actual gameplay footage from start to finish, this was the first episode. We got a camera, right? See that? I got another camera thanks to my patrons. I got another camera and another mic that I set up and actually had on the table, and the whole thing and everything it went up. Finally got it figured out. It took me 2 sessions of failures, but I figured it out. So anyway, we're going to dive right into it. So this also is another tool available to patrons. It just shows on the different reward tiers of what you want to get for that. But I'm going to show you guys it here right now. So this is my little Dungeon Master binder, a campaign tracker. I fill that out later. That's not exciting to watch because I'm basically giving you all the rundown here. Lands of Barovia leads me through all the way through the whole big picture of all of that. But we are in Durst Manor, the Death House. And here we go. They got the intro hook. This is every single room in the whole entire thing. That's where they left off at. They were in the attic. These are all drop-down menus, so I can all follow along here. Basement, they went all the way through the basement. And they left off in the cult leader's headquarters. And here we are. We ended the encounter, we started the session, ended last session, started this session with a trap going off. They had a treasure chest that they were like, all right, I want to pull out of the room. They got a grappling hook situation. They're pulling it out of the room. It hits the ground, boom, explodes, it knocks one of the ghasts out of the wall that turns out to be Elizabeth Durst in ghast form attacking the group. But I role played it this way because I try to never run. Sometimes it happens or whatever, but I try to never have the goal just be they kill them for them versus who kills each other first, right? So this ghast comes out and she sees her son, the one that was taken from her, Walter. There's an NPC with the group, Walter, that's been walking around with the group, and she sees him. She wants to go to him, so she's trying to get to him, and she's just attacking people to get in her way, and she's trying to get to him. But I have a big curveball coming in this combat, and I knew that. So as a dungeon master, I knew I had, and this is the behind the scenes I'm talking about, right? I knew in this Durst ghast encounter right here, I knew that I had, the first thing was going to be Elizabeth's ghast was going to come out, and then after one round, the second ghast was going to break free and kill her and become empowered, right? And then here's the stat block if you want to see what's going on there. So, so as a dungeon master, I know one ghast is going to come out, and I want to make sure they know there's another ghast. It doesn't feel like it came out of nowhere. So I foreshadowed it. I showed that there was limbs sticking out of the walls in the dirt, right? So then this one's kind of coming at them. They kind of knew that there was maybe a second one. And then halfway through the round, so like the first round's going on, halfway through the round, I described that creature coming into the battle, right? There we go. It's awake. And then the battle finished up. They dealt all this damage to her. And I was balancing out. I was like, how am I going to be able to get in here and kill this thing? And that's kind of the Dungeon Master challenge that I had, is I knew that I wanted this second creature to kill the first one. If you're not familiar and you haven't watched these other episodes, the Durst Manor, these are the two, the husband and wife of the Durst Manor. The wife had an affair with the husband, with this cult member who spawned that son, Walter. So Walter is the bastard child, the adultery baby of Elizabeth Durst and this cult leader that Xanther, which is the final boss that they fight later. So this whole situation, he's been trying to go, like this dark and twistedness of all of this has turned them into gas and this other curse stuff that's going on. So all he wants to do is kill her, and she's in the middle of the party now. So he runs to the party, gets them out of the way in whatever way he can, and kills her. In fact, it was actually perfect because the last person to go, the paladin, knocks her back and shoves her back, and as she gets shoved backwards, Um, he comes, runs up to her, catches her out of the air, shoves his hand through her chest, eats her, throws her down. It was a gruesome scene, right? This is Curse of Strahd. Let's go, people. And then he gets empowered. Now was a cool combat mechanic moment. As you see down here, he gained 40 hit points. And he transforms over the next round. So I told them, I said, right now, he is transforming. Black mist is coming off of the body. He's growing in size. His teeth are lengthening. His part of his body is lengthening. He's becoming grotesque and mutating, right? You guys have one round. I straight up told them at a meta level, you guys have one round of a surprise round right now to do whatever you want in this one round, and then we go back to initiative, right? So what are you guys doing? So they're like, oh, okay, I guess we just attack them. Oh, let's go. So they all did their things, and in this round, two critical strikes in this round. Granted, they had advantage because I said the word stunned, and they're like, oh, it means we have advantage? So they caught me right there. I see it. It would make sense. He's not moving. So two critical strikes from the Barbarian and Rogue, and then a regular hit from the Paladin. The Cleric was wrestling with Walter because he's like, don't kill my mom, no. So that was kind of funny. And then, so here we go. All of that happened. They dealt 63 damage. No. Yeah, they dealt 63 damage, I think, in one round. It was crazy, right? But this thing has more health than that. And as soon as he came out of that, he had a Ghoulish Frenzy ability, right? And that Ghoulish Frenzy was a wisdom saving throw, and they all failed it. All of them, except for one. The Bard cast Protection from Good and Evil on the Paladin, protecting them from it. Was really cool. Actually, it was a very, very useful spell the Bard did. And then everyone's feared. So now they're all feared. This thing only has, because they dealt through the 40 temporary hit points, got to its actual health, whittled that down more. He only has about 20 health left. He has 40 health. The shield was 40 health. So he had 80 total health. So he's only at like just under 20 hit points. And it was so hard to deal damage to him, though, because they were all feared and they couldn't hit and they were all afraid. He only has 13 armor class, but he kept getting some swings and hits in. And then that's how the rest of the fight went, right? He picked up one of the characters, shoved it against the wall, knocked the Paladin unconscious with this huge attack after all this was going back and forth, multiple people missing and stuff afterwards. And then they were able to finish him off. The Barbarian got the killing blow. Described a really cool moment where she spun the mace around and impaled him with the pommel of her two-handed mace. So super crazy, gruesome move to finish him off, and then bashed his head across, all that good stuff, right? There's that one. And then now they are all messed up. They take a short rest, and in my system, a short rest is only 5 minutes. Why is it an hour? That's a whole nother video. I've made it on the main channel. So they now travel through the rest of the house, and they get down, they go downstairs. I had a moment here. I'm going to show you all my first little behind the scenes curveball here. So they went down, the cult leaders. They had a cult leaders den, the stairs down, and then right here, stairs down trap. I avoided the trap. I scrapped the trap. I said, never mind. I had put a trap there in the house. Let me see if I can pull it in over here, right? Let me just, right here, right? So there was a trap in the house, and then I decided against it, right? So here we go. We're over here. We go up here. So right here, there's supposed to be a trap right here at 30. Now, technically, the rules is written, there's a trap right here. I didn't like that place for a trap, so I put it here because you always have to encounter it. And it was a really interesting little trap for it. And they had just did this. They were super messed up. They just rested. They went into this room. They peeked into this room, saw some sketchy stuff, and then bailed out, went back here. And then now they're at a spot where I'm like, do I run a trap? They just went through a big combat, got dealt a bunch of damage. We've scratched that itch. We've hit that high. We've had this whole thing. That was the experience. That was super cool. They won, right? Like, good job, right? Now, if they had sped run this thing, right? If they came down here and they're like, of course I'm going to run the trap. But man, they went up here. They dove through here. They came down here. They found the exit. Then they turned back around, went here, got all this stuff, came back. Like, man, they really cleaned up house, right? So I was like, you know what? They won. And this is not me giving them like, oh, a pity, like, oh, I'm not going to put the trap here. Like, I have a bunch of tools here, right? To get across this death house, right? And this trap, it was in the rules as written, it wasn't really even that bad of a trap. It's just a little tax. This one was like a little bit more involved one, but I was like, No, I dialed the trap up too high. At this point, I'm like, no. This doesn't feel right. They've won. They've beaten this whole level. We're going to go down to the basement, right? So then they go down to the basement. But also, just for a future reference thing there. Whoa, there we go. Future reference thing here. This is the stairs trap. If you're interested in how I was going to run the stairs trap, there it is. It's super simple. It could have been some damage and falling and then things falling out from underneath them and all that kind of stuff. The click is the thing where I say something and say, what do you do real quick? But I was like, we already had the combat. It was just a big, huge combat, and they were going to go from one combat into a trap. I was like, no, I'm scrapping that. So I scrapped that trap. And they went down into the reliquary. So they went down here, and then now I guess I can pull back up that image. Yeah. So they go down here, they check out all these different things here. They go in here, they see some spooky stuff. There's a secret door right here. Almost found it, didn't find it, had to turn back around, and they get to this portcullis, right? And this portcullis here is a DC 20 athletics check. The barbarian went to smash it, and they rolled a 19 on there. I have a make an attack roll be a attack roll check. You know what I'm saying? So they made an attack roll. It was a 19. Didn't hit the 20. If they did hit the 20, sure, they would have gotten through. But it was a 19, so I described it was dented, but then there was a hole in there that was large enough for a halfling or gnome to fit through. And there's one halfling and one gnome in the group. So it's the cleric, and they're like, so they weave the way through there. And I try to avoid the make another attack, and because if we did another attack, the DC would have been higher, and then I would have described it's just more, it's an open hole, and that they would have been stuck. And because I'm not just going to sit there and go, they make an attack, and then eventually you get it. No, right? They had to send the cleric in, and they sent the cleric in, and then they went into the center here, and that's where all of that's actually the ending. So there you go, the ritual chamber. So they go into the ritual chamber, described all this. They have the whole thing going there, and then we have 3 options. They could have sacrificed a living creature. Like the whole thing, if you're not familiar with Curse of Strahd, the entire situation is in this room. There's a bunch of chanting going on, and they're saying one must die, and they didn't do anything. So there's this moment of indecision: one must die, and literally the thing they have to do is sacrifice a living creature. And they were hesitant, and they were like kind of floundering because they didn't know what to do, but they did know what to do, but they just weren't going to do it. So I knew what I was going to say as a dungeon master, and I had that ready and prepared right here. No, they refuse. Read this, right? Immediately. So I was like waiting. I had this queued up. Me behind the screen, I was like watching them. No. The light chamber flickers as you see the deep crack, all that kind of stuff, right? And so then I described this, and then that's when they got attacked by the blood ooze, and it was a big, huge fight. I did this. This is it's supposed to be a shambling mound or something, but I had it be a blood golem. I had this be this blood golem thing, and I had a whole, it's like this muck. It's supposed to be a mud golem miniature, but I painted it red, and it was like blood and nasty and gross. And it was a blood golem, and I thought it fit the theme much better. So anyway, they're in there now. They fight this blood golem, and that was the session right there. Oh, that's the DC 20 roleplay system. Hold up, whoa, that was a little sneak peek there. Hold up. Anyway, so in that chamber, it was really crazy. Like the whole fight was crazy. In fact, let me actually go to the let me go to that spot so you can see what's actually happening here. So there's the blood golem stat block. If you want to see the blood golem stat block, I always write down little strategy moments. Kill Walter. Walter was already dead. Also the Gast, the Gerst, the husband of the house, killed Walter in that whole moment. He killed Walter, smashed his throat. Walter's dead, right? And then the kill Walter and kill the PC with the amber compass, right? Whoever has the amber compass, he was going to go after them, right? And that's all or kill the person with the lowest health, absorb blood. He was going to go to the person with the lowest health. That was his tiered strategy list. And a really interesting thing that happened in this fight was I was going after the person with the whoever had the amber compass, which is this finger floating in amber, right? That always points a certain direction, always points towards us. Spoilers, yeah, I can say spoilers here. It always points towards the Amber Temple, which is a big part of Curse of Strahd as well. It's always pointing in that direction. The players don't know that. It's always pointing, no matter how they move it, it always points in one direction. And he says, you, and he reached out towards him. And he's like, I don't know what's going on. And the player figured out it's this finger, this item, and he chunks it across the room. I was like, oh, I did not see that coming. As a dungeon master, I did not see that coming. I was like, I'm just going to attack the person with the compass. And I never thought of the scenario where they would figure out that it's an item they have and which item they have and then throw it across the room. Never did I see those three things happening. And I was like, wow, what would I do here? And I had a moment as a dungeon master. I was like, I respect the hell out of that. I got to go for it. I got to go along with this. I can't be like, it splashes in the water and then I keep attacking you all. That's lame as hell. No, sorry. I have, when my players make creative moves that make sense, that respect the lore and background and history, everything, like this creature wants that amber compass so it can get back to the amber temple. It needs it, right? And this is Xanther. This is the cultist that is actually trying to turn into a lich, but then the Strahd stopped him and he's now trapped him in this way. It's all lore I've made up. This is not straight up Curse of Strahd stuff. Again, let me know if I should do a whole video on this. I have a whole thing of how I flipped up all the lore on all this stuff. But he wants this thing. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to respect it. So I would burn one legendary action when he would try and go get the thing. So he would always like, I'd go over there and I'd either burn an attack. He had 2 attacks. I'd burn one of the attacks or I'd burn one of the legendary actions. And sometimes it would take a legendary action to move over there. And then on his turn, he would use an action. He would use an action to have it realize it wasn't there and then have one more attack. So they were really smart and sometimes drained his action economy by doing that. And I was like, I love that. I love it. I love it. I love it. It was so cool. And then to make it even cooler, the bard, after the thing figured it out and got the thing back, the bard did a minor illusion of that finger and said, I got it. I was like, oh my God, this is brilliant. He won in the deception check contest against the creature, had it. The creature's now going after him, burning action economy towards him. And then he goes, just kidding. And then he vanished it or whatever because the thing was attacking him. It was about to kill him. And then so the bard's getting low health because he's getting attacked. So he's vanished the illusion. And then the thing turns around. And then the person that actually has it now, as they're playing like this really interesting keep away. Right? It was super creative. And they grab the thing and they throw it across the room again. So now it goes and gets it. Now it has it. And at that point, now that was multiple rounds. That was probably like 3 or so rounds worth of tomfoolery, right? Where they're draining attack actions, they're draining legendary actions, but now it knows. And the back half of the fight got real bad. Real bad. Everyone's rolling real bad. I'm rolling okay, but they're rolling real bad. The cleric is just constantly casting fire. They got nothing left to spell slots. They are just attacking with fire the best they can, doing the best they can with what the limited resources, literally no resources that they have. That's what the cleric's doing. The bards casting vicious mockery. They have no spell slots left because they used it in other parts of the house, and they're just vicious mockering the blood golem over and over again, which actually is good because it gives the blood golem disadvantage on its attacks, and that was actually kind of helping, so that was good. The rogue, it rolled a 7 3 times in a row and just could not hit. But as you notice in the stat block, where is it right here? Vulnerable. It is vulnerable to all damage targeting the human body within the blood, but you add 5 to its armor class. So its armor class is 15, plus 5 is 20. It would be a 20 to hit the middle, but if you hit the middle, it's vulnerable double damage. That's the trade-off, right? And so sometimes they'd make attack the regular, and sometimes they wouldn't, all this kind of stuff. And I would describe the attacks as hitting the blood, but then just getting slowed down by the viscous nature of it and everything. So super cool strategy decisions there. Lots of good choices where they made to just hit the blood because they knew they had some minuses going on. So really cool to see how they did that. And then so that was the rogue. Kept missing on the attacks. I don't think he landed one. I think he maybe landed one attack, but all of the other attacks, he just was trying to hit that 20 armor class, but just could not. Kept rolling a 7. And then the rogue was the one that came up with the moves of doing the cool like finger toss. And so the rogue started. He's the one that started that thing of like, keep away from it. And then the rogue was also the triage group where he ran over to the barbarian who kept getting knocked out and unconscious. He was healing potion, run away, come back, grab him over, medicine kit to stabilize. So like the rogue stopped attacking and started doing triage, helpful group stuff. And then the 2 final players, the barbarian and paladin, were just going to town at this thing constantly, just doing as much damage as they could. This thing has 140 hit points. crazy, right? It's a lot of health for this thing. In general, Death House is a very crazy, overtuned situation. I wanted to keep a little bit of that in here to just stay true to the craziness of Death House, so my players would have experienced of how crazy it was. And they did, right? Because it was crazy. And so they just keep getting, the barbarian gets knocked out. But in the same, I implemented, this is the first time I've implemented it, and I really liked it, is as exhaustive death saves. So as soon as you get knocked unconscious, you gain a level of exhaustion, right? So you get brought back. So she already had one level of exhaustion from session 1, and it's been lingering this whole time. And then gets knocked unconscious, 2 levels of exhaustion. Comes back from a lay on hands from the paladin, gets knocked out again. Because again, on this creature, the strategy, one of its strategies is to attack the lowest health person. So I kept attacking her because she's the lowest health person. She'd come back up and I'd attack her again, you know. So it was strategy. It made sense. It's a blood golem, smelling blood in the waters, etc. So again, now she's at 3 levels of exhaustion, gets knocked out again. She's at 4 levels of exhaustion. I'm like, you die at 6. Your character's straight up dead at 6. No death saves. You just drop to the floor dead, right? So, and you're minusing 4 on every attack roll. I have a homebrew video on my death save, or my exhaustion system. That's on the main channel. Dungeon Coach Exhaustion, and you'll find the video. She's at 4 levels of exhaustion now, and she's still attacking and going and attacking and going. It was crazy. So, and the paladin is now, every time now the paladin gets attacked by the golem, I cannot hit her. She has an 18 armor class. I cannot hit her. I hit her once, and the whole series of goes at it. So that was like one of their saving graces, is the paladin and barbarian tanking through unconscious bodies, falling into the ground and coming back, and then the paladin with the armor class. So they finally wore it down to the very end and dealt 145 points of damage to finally get the killing blow. Described the whole thing. It was super cool, and they cleaved down the body that's on the inside, and then the body on the inside is a lich, or is at least partially a lich in some way. They're pretty much almost there. They just need to accomplish one more thing, but they just can't. So I described the spirit wafting and wafting away towards its phylactery. So there was a moment there where if somebody realized where the finger in amber, it would have been pointing a certain direction. The mist and spirit went that direction. Nobody figured that out, though. That was a little thing. I didn't know if anybody was going to say that. I actually don't know who has the amber finger anymore. Because I don't think anybody just said that they picked it up. So that's an interesting little note there. I'm going to go down to the bottom of my sheet here and say, and this was also a note I made. This was a note I made during the session right here. So I'm going to put this outside here, put this down here, and then I'm going to go the amber finger. I'm going to ask that at the top of the session. Fate roll to see if they got it back. See if somebody remembered. I'm going to ask them if they remembered. I'm going to ask them to be real honest. And if they're like, I don't know, I'm going to say make a fate roll. High, you got it. Low, you don't, right? But there's also part of me that's like, this is a key part of the campaign. It's a key negative of the campaign to lead them towards the Amber Temple. I want them to go to the Amber Temple. So do I do that, or do I just say they have that? So I don't know. I'm just going to say this. I'm going to see who has the finger. Who has the finger? Did anybody get the finger? And we'll have that conversation. If somebody's like, oh, no, I didn't leave it, then I'll ask for the roll to, yeah, anyway. So that is the whole, hold up, time out. Then they got out of the house. Now, here's the thing with how the rest of the house goes. There's a skill challenge to escape the death house, right? But let me go back up here, too. At the very beginning, I gave them this DM warning. I said, guys, hold up, time out. You're about to fight this creature. I should have told you guys this before I talked about the fight. You have a choice. You can choose to leave and run and try and get out of this house, or you can choose to stand and fight this golem. Which one are y'all going to choose? One of the players chimes in and they're like, honestly, I feel like my character would not even think that that's an option. I feel like my character thinks that this is the only way to get out of here, is to kill this thing and slay this beast, and that's it. Right? I was like, done. Then that's the answer, right? So I love to see that where their characters' heads were at and all that stuff. I wanted to offer that up to them as the option of how to go. And I had a whole skill challenge prepared for getting out of there. So at the end here, the skill challenge, all of this, Didn't matter because they beat the beast, and as soon as they killed the beast and as soon as they sacrificed, then everything kind of faded down and the house calmed down and they let them go and they walked back out of the house. And I was like, what do you guys kind of talk about as y'all leave? And they're like, sorry about this. Oh wow, you got this. So they had this little like, whew, man, licking their wounds because I wanted them to feel like it was over. I wanted them to feel like it was over. As this was happening, I'm over here on my other screen setting up my tension music. I have the creepy haunted music, and then over the top of the creepy haunted music, I have a tension music of like boom, 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 boom. You know, so I had it ready, and then I'm sitting over there, and then I said, "You burst free from the monstrous house. Press play." You're in a familiar town that you left not long ago. You see this whole thing. I read this thing to him, and you see an ominous stagecoach pointing off in the distance. Nobody knew what was really going on yet. There's a black horse. There's this picnic basket in front of them. What's going on here? What's going on here? And then the music's playing now. The music's playing. They're like, what? Okay. Like, so now the players know something's going on here. And I like to do that at a meta level because the players at the table know I just played tension music. Wait, what? You know, like they're inquisitive and concerned, just like their characters are inquisitive and concerned. I like to do things in the real life to try and simulate that. So then I describe the tall, dark figure emerges from the stagecoach, blah, 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 blah. And then as soon as I say this tall, dark figure emerges from the stagecoach, the rogue character's like, oh, this is Strahd. Like oh no. Shoot. And then I did a slow clap. Welcome to Barovia, travelers. And then that's right. And then so how I ended it, because I do like to end sessions on a cliffhanger. I was like, "Welcome to Barovia, travelers. Well done." And then I said, his eyes catch the moonlight as he gets closer and closer to your group. That's where we end the session. Boom, and then we stopped. So, haha, yes, done. They are now meeting Strahd for the first time. How will that go? I have a whole thing of how that will go, prepared and ready to see what the heck they do. Because, man, are they messed up. They are pretty beat up, and then they did a great job. And I even stopped after they beat the blood golem. I was like, hold up, guys. I just want to give you all a round of applause. Like, that was great. Like, that was crazy. Y'all went through the entire house with no rest, like nuts, absolutely crazy. Y'all did it. Wow. So super proud of my group. They did great, super crazy, great ideas, great moves, great role play, great everything, super great job. So I made sure to give them some props for that. And we'll see what happens with Strahd, meeting Strahd. I'm super excited for this. I've been waiting for them to meet Strahd. And we'll go from there and see how it's done. So if y'all are interested in this Cursed Strahd stuff, you want resources of what I'm showing you here, you get access to the resources on my Patreon. You can see the live plays on my Patreon. I'm trying to thank all the people that make this possible during all this craziness of all the OGL stuff that's going on right now. My patrons are what is helping me be able to still do this as a job and not have to go back to be a teacher or something. I don't know. That makes me go, no. This is it. I'm all in. So we got that. That's it, baby. So thank you guys for everything. Appreciate y'all. We'll see Curse of Strahd outside the box.